There was nothing comparable to this prior to 2014. Nothing. Right. This is the most evil government that we have ever seen in this country or perhaps anywhere in the world.
Caught in the eye of the storm and standing defiantly at the Supreme Court in a case that everyone has been talking about and watching closely is advocate activist Prashant Bhushan. Thank you so much, sir, for joining us.
My pleasure.
So let's start with the most recent thing that's happened is your sentencing, where you were asked to pay ₹1 fine. There were lots of people who felt that you would either not pay this fine or you wouldn't want to. Did the thought cross your mind at all, sir?
No, it did not, because I was not itching to go to jail. I said I was prepared to go to jail if that was the sentence. Right. But the sentence was ₹1 fine, so I decided to submit to the fine.
So we've seen a very defiant version of you in the Supreme Court. How has it been for you and your family to cope with this time?
So some members of my family were a little worried. Okay. As to what would happen, especially by the prospect of my being sent to jail. Right. But my father was not worried, and I was also not worried, because I had looked at the possibility of going to jail, and I said, all right, so many people go to jail. My grandparents had gone to jail for more than a year during the independence movement. All these Bhima Koregaon people are in jail for two years, etc. I'll use that 6 months, that's the maximum that they could send me to jail for. I'll use it to read, maybe write a book about the judiciary. Okay. I'll see what the conditions are in jail, meet some people there, see what kind of people are there.
Right. You've also said there have been serious problems before 2014. So why do you take the line that there has been an attempt to destroy a democracy only after 2014, sir?
So before 2014, there were various problems, all kinds of problems. But what we have seen after 2014 just is of a different order altogether. Right. There are lynch mobs which have been let loose on the streets. There are lynch mobs on the social media who threaten you with rape or with killing you, etc. The media, the mainstream media has been taken over and used to spread communal hatred, used to spread falsehood, so that people cannot distinguish between what is true and what is false. There is an assault on scientific temper and reason. The Prime Minister himself propagates all kinds of nonsense, that there is no such thing as climate change, that Lord Ganesha's trunk was stitched by a piece of plastic surgery, where his ministers say, go Corona, go, that this will make Corona go away. So therefore, this is an assault on our whole scale, assault on our society. There was nothing comparable to this prior to 2014, nothing. Right. This is the most evil government that we have ever seen in this country or perhaps anywhere in the world.
Should young lawyers and journalists and activists who look towards the Supreme Court as a ray of hope, to sort of bring balance and ensure rule of law, do you feel that we need to stop looking at the Supreme Court? The time has come to stop looking at the Supreme Court for hope?
No, I don't think so at all.
Okay.
If that were the case, I would have also given up hope. My criticism about the judiciary is only in the hope that there will be reform. We can't give up hope. We can't become cynical. We have to keep working at it, especially young people and young lawyers who are the main stakeholders as well. See, their whole life and their career is before them, and it's going to be before this judicial system. So if this judicial system is non-functional or corrupt, etc., everybody will suffer, most of all they.
Recently, some of the high courts have given some very, some judgments through which people have started to get that hope, in the sense of Kafil Khan and the Allahabad High Court or Delhi High Court with Devangana Kalita, the Pinjra Tod member, her bail. Do you think the Supreme Court can play a very important role here, or should play an important role here in setting a precedent to protect the right to dissent, or should they leave it to the High Court, sir?
No, I think they need to play a very important role, and one of the things that the Supreme Court needs to do is to re-examine the constitutional validity of UAPA.
Right.
In my view, it's a totally unconstitutional law. Unfortunately, they held it to be constitutional, but I think that judgment needs to be re-examined.
Okay, you're often viewed as a troublemaker by people, somebody who is a serial PIL filer, now even part of a lobby allegedly which seeks to influence the judiciary. Given the sheer number of cases, the number of PILs that you've filed in over the years, do you think there is any merit to these claims?
So these kind of statements are made by those people who are at the receiving end of my PIL. See, unfortunately, we are seeing such high levels of corruption in this in our society that it calls for a lot more public interest cases. I can only take up those which is within my capacity.
Okay.
And I try and prioritize them and take up what I consider to be the most important. I don't think I have ever taken up any matter which was not worthy of being taken up as a PIL.
Now, at the end of it, the judgment, because you were found guilty, is this judgment the opening of a newer issue or a closure of this issue, sir?
If you take the judgment by itself, it certainly makes speaking out against the judiciary much harder.
Okay.
But because of the intense debate and public discussion that this case provoked, I think that discussion in the long run will help in loosening this whole law of contempt.